What's up, everybody? I'm so excited to be here with you today. No, literally, I am so excited. I am enjoying every minute, and I can't wait to tell you about it. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson. I'm a ballroom dance professional, a life coach, and a peak performance expert. I'm part of a group of motivated people who are dedicated to attaining emotional mastery and unlocking our full potential. We don't believe others are responsible for how we feel. In fact, we don't believe anyone can make us feel anything. We believe in the magic of ballroom dance. It has taught us how to improve our bodies, challenge our minds, and inspire our souls. And in return, I want to share those lessons with the world. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life. What's up, lifers? This is Michael Johnson. So glad you could join me today. I am excited that you're here, and listening to the intro, you're probably wondering, what the heck is he talking about? Listen, I have been promoting this idea for ages. I've been coaching and teaching and for a long time. Those of you that know my background story a bit, I'm a ballroom dancer. I've competed as a professional in the ballroom industry, and now coach and work with a lot of high-level dancers. I am also privileged to work with athletes and business people all over on high-level performance and being able to bring out the best of their abilities on a regular basis. And I really am lucky that I get to do it. I mean, honestly, I get to work with some of the greatest people on the planet. And they're people that are excited to be doing what they're doing. They are passionate about it. They love what is happening in the world. And at times, as you know, and as I know, things fall apart. Things don't work the way that we want them to work, but we still know we love it. And I've been there too. Sometimes we call them burnouts. Sometimes we call them bad day, or something goes wrong and it's not how we like it to be. And it's hard when we're so passionate and caring about the things that we love to do so much. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the process that our dancers go through, because I think it's important. Dance is such a great metaphor for life, and the things that we do within our dancing sort of resemble what is going on in our world. Dance is such a great metaphor because we dance with another person. There's a constant relationship that's having to be developed with our partners. And it's a one-on-one relationship. It's about connection. It's about progress. It's about doing what we do, our athletic thing that we do, our dancing, but with another person. And so ballroom has such a great way of slapping us in the face with life metaphors all the time. So I wanted to get into one of the ideas that we teach and work on a regular basis. In ballroom specifically. And that is about how we dance with each other through our routines. As we get out onto the floor, it's so easy to get sucked into the atmosphere and what's going on around us and the emotions of the other people, because you can feel it. You can feel people's energy as you walk by. And you know this, if somebody walks in the room and they're having a bad day, it can kind of change and affect the whole room depending on that person's status in the room. So you've experienced this before. The boss walks in and they're having a bad day, and all of a sudden everybody else's energy and mood shifts. Or the boss walks in and they're laughing and joking and teasing and playing, and everybody in the room changes their emotional state. So you've experienced this before. Well, in dance, this has an effect on you from the outside. It also can have an effect on you from your own partner. And so you have to manage that a lot. So what we have to think about is how to deal with those emotions as we go. Now, one of the things that you do in dance is you, for all intents and purposes, memorize a routine. You memorize the patterning of your feet. You memorize where you place your arms, how you look at your partner, how you hold your hands, and various other things. And as you do that routine, there is technical skill that is inside of that routine. Now, this is the same in every sport. And so it's not that different. So if you play golf, it's the same kind of idea. You memorize the routine that you go through and you try to be as consistent as you can. If you play basketball, you may have a routine that you go through to shoot free throws, and this is very typical. One of the things that happens in dance is that as you execute a figure, which is a combination of steps, you can easily mess up that figure. Now, in dance, like in many other sports, you can mess up the figure and still make it through and do it decent enough that you can get to the next figure. And this is pretty typical of most athletic sports and of dance as a general whole. And so it should be familiar to you, no matter what it is you do. But when we mess up, one of the things that usually hangs up a dancer is that they start thinking about the fact that they messed it up. Now, they may have put in hours and hours of training on that one figure, but if they mess it up in the moment, it is so easy to think about what just got messed up. If you're a pitcher in baseball, oftentimes you throw a pitch, and if you messed up that pitch, it's so hard at times to go to the next pitch because you're still thinking about the last pitch. And this is huge. This is huge. What you're doing is living in the past. And as a dancer, this is massively a problem because there may be 100 figures in your routine. And so if you're constantly living in the past, your routine deteriorates and degrades so fast. And so this is a big challenge. We have to work with our athletes, our dancers, to stop living in the past. Now, this is hard because we all have heard, you want to get better. You're not perfect. You need to keep learning from your past experiences. And so we have kind of built in this idea of improvement by looking at our past. And while that's true, I think there is a very specific time to do it. But you can't do it during the performance. And this is something we teach our dancers. Now, likewise, on the other side of the spectrum, you have future thought. You start thinking about winning the game. You start thinking about winning the trophy. You start thinking about making in ballroom the next round because you have to make it from one cut to the next. And as you're thinking about this idea of the future and what could happen, you lose focus on what you're doing. And so then it kind of kicks you back into a cycle, which is if you're thinking about future, then it can easily mess up what you're doing. Therefore, it's going to make you think about what you messed up, and then it goes through this cycle. Now, that's not just about the trophy. Sometimes it's about thinking of the next move, and I see it all the time. In fact, I remember hearing it just last week in one of the coachings I was doing. I was talking to them about something. They hadn't gotten to the next piece, which was really a problem, and they messed up the piece before. I said, well, what happened? Why did you mess up that sequence of steps? You always get it right. They go, oh, I was thinking about the next step that was the problem. I said, so wait a second. The next thing is the problem, but you messed up this because you were thinking about the next thing. And that's so typical as well. So we have this serious challenge, right? We like to think about the future, which can mess up the moment, the present. And we like to think about what happened that messed up already, which messes up the present, the moment. This is a big deal. This is a classic problem for us as humans. We do it all the time, and we do it in all sorts of things, whether it's school or whether it's your athletics or whether it's business and marketing. Sometimes we put so much focus into what we used to mess up in business that we're missing the moment that we're in. Sometimes we're thinking so far ahead and what we want to do to plan for all the future possible mistakes that we mess up the moment that we're in. So we teach this cool thing in dance. And you've heard it before. There's all sorts of cool ideas out there that I love. I love to hear when people talk about it and hear their different version of how you can be in the moment, in the now, living in the present. And that's what we do. We teach it every minute, every second, every minute. That's where you've got to be. Every second, every minute. That's where you have to be. You use your history, the things that you messed up, to learn from. You use your future to make sure that you're going to the right direction. That's what goals are for. But along the way, you must live in the present, in the moment, every second, every minute. And this is so challenging. But in the moments when our dancers, our high-level athletes, can be in the moment, in the now, in that 1 second that they're executing instead of in the one behind them or the one in front of them, that's when the best stuff comes out. I'm watching the NBA playoffs now. I love watching high-level athletics because these athletes are attaining something that we all are striving for, and that is to live in the moment, in the present. And sometimes after the games, you get that classic interviewer that comes in and asks them some question, and you see the look on these athletes' face like, what? What are you talking about? It's that classic question of, what were you thinking of in the game? And the athlete looks at them, and usually if they're interviewing the athlete, it's because that athlete was on par, on point for that game. And the athlete usually looks at him and says, well, I was just being in the moment. I was just doing what I was supposed to do. I wasn't thinking about the past. I wasn't thinking about tomorrow. I was thinking about that moment, in that second, in that absolute minute that I was living and executing, because that was all that mattered. And honestly, we don't want to stick our head in the sand and not pay attention to where we're going. That's why we set goals. And we don't want to pretend like we've never messed up, because we won't learn from our mistakes. And I get that. So there are times to reflect. But during the thing that you're doing, whether it's creating a new marketing plan, or whether it's throwing a pitch in the championship game, or whether it's setting up to kick that goal that could win the game, or whether it's getting out on the floor and dancing in that championship final round. It doesn't matter. You have to live in the moment. You have to execute every second, every minute. So I'd like you to think about it. There are all sorts of things you can say. There are all sorts of things you can do. You must practice being in the moment. And a quick little reminder for yourself could just simply be every minute. If you start to find yourself thinking about the past, if you start to find yourself getting stuck on the mistakes that you've made, just remind yourself every minute. If you get too bogged down by where you're gonna go, remind yourself every minute, because you don't want to miss this moment. Not right now, not ever. You don't want to miss this moment, and it can be challenging. And that's why we practice. That's why we prepare. That's why we do the work. But even then, there's a certain element of being in the moment, in the second, in the minute, that you have to concede to. Let go and enjoy what you're doing every minute. And I know that emotionally, sometimes we don't like to do this, because when we do it, time tends to fly. You've probably noticed that too. You've probably noticed that, you go on some special vacation. I love Disney. I'm a Disney fan. So, you go to Disneyland and it's easy to get in the moment. And sometimes we regret it because we want that moment to keep lasting forever and ever. But we can't. So just get in the moment, and those times will fly. And that's okay. That's okay, because you're in the moment, you're in the minute, and some of the best experiences we've had in our world and in our life happen in the moment and in that minute. So, I challenge you today to live the day. Just start with the day and see how you do. Live in the moment. Live in the moment. Make your plans for the future. Set your goals. Write them down. Learn from your mistakes. Write down some of the things you did poorly and say, you know what, I'm never going to do that again. Never again. And then live in the moment, in the present. You will be amazed at the power in that idea of living in the moment, every minute. And you can do it. So I'd love to hear back from you. Send us a message, send us an email, share the podcast. If you think this is going to be a great message for somebody, or somebody needs to hear it, please share it with them, because we're just out trying to change people's lives, people's world, and we want to do the best for as many people as we can. And so I appreciate you coming today. I'm so thankful for you guys that are listeners. And like I said, share this podcast and let people know that we exist, so that we can improve their lives as well. And just remember, every second, every minute.
Are you loving Magic for Life? Please like and share our podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Want more magic for your life? Join me for some great Facebook Lives on the official Facebook page at Michael A. Johnson Official.